Alright, hello, welcome to this challenge run of Metal Gear Solid 3. I'll be playing on European Extreme and I'll be wearing the Tuxedo camo in every room possible. My final time for this run is 1 hour, 16 minutes and 44 seconds, which includes the credits. And I'll also achieve the FoxHound rank.
After the end of World War II, the world was split into two, East and West. This marked the beginning of the era called the Cold War.
The FoxHound rank is the highest rank in the game. To get it, you have to have no continues, no alerts, no kills, and use no life meds. You are allowed to save under 25 times and still get the FoxHound rank, but I won't be saving at all during this playthrough. So this is single segment. The European Extreme difficulty is the highest difficulty in the game, and it's game over if discovered, so we can't get seen by any guards during the run. So that covers the alert section. In this difficulty, if you get an alert, you actually get an alert and a continue. As you can see, the Tuxedo camo will bring your camo index, that's the amount in the top right, way down to like minus 35, minus 45, and that's the same in a lot of areas in the game. Part of this challenge is wearing the Tuxedo makes it a lot easier to get spotted. It also prevents the use of disguises, because we can't take the Tuxedo off. You can't wear face paint while in the Tuxedo, and you also can't CQC, which does change some strategies when dealing with some of the bosses in the game. So I'm just headshotting that first guard. He sees us from really far away, so we only have a couple of seconds to do that. That's a technique called trank roll. So if you trank a guard and then roll into them, it will instantly knock them out. On this difficulty, it takes a lot of shots in the body to take down a guard, but only one in the head, or just instantly knock them out of a trank roll. We'll see that again here as well. So these guards on the bridge, they'll see us from really far away. I actually missed a shot there, which makes a guard kind of further back begin calling on his radio. So this is actually a backup strat. I know as long as I headshot this guard before he finishes his call, the amount of time it takes for the this radio call, the what's going on respond, to finish, I can already leave the room by that point. So a backup team would come from that direction, but I'm out of there with plenty of time. Because the guards can see me so easily in the Tuxedo, I have to take out quite a few here. I'm just using body shots because I want them to go down kind of at the same time as each other. If I headshot the first one, the second guard will begin walking towards him, which makes him harder to hit. Now I'm just going to roll into this guard and knock him down and get into the next room, so when he stands up he doesn't see me. And that's it for the Virtuous Mission. There's no guards on my way out now. And as I start out in the Snake Eater mission here, I'm going to shoot a mushroom. You can use food that you pick up as a throwable item. The two guards ahead of me, if I roll incorrectly at all, they will be able to see me. I'm rolling a second time to clear the bird out of the grass, and as they begin walking forward, I'll throw the mushroom. I need it to land behind those guards. Once this second guard turns around, I can begin running towards them, and I cook a stun grenade here that actually silences my footsteps on certain terrain, so we use that strategy a few times in the game. It gives us completely silent footsteps. If I didn't do that, as I approached the guard, he would hear me and turn around. When you roll in this game, it actually increases your camo index by a small amount. Because the Tuxedo is such bad camouflage, if I didn't roll down the second half of that bridge, the two guards that I just rolled past would be able to see me. In other camouflages, you don't need to do that, but in the Tuxedo, you absolutely do. And we're coming up to the first boss here. This is the Ocelot unit. It's 10 guards. And of course, we're using non-lethal strategies, so we're not going to be killing any guards. I get the cardboard box on the roof there. The cardboard box is probably the best item in the game. Right at the start, I have to equip the Mark 22. We were just given it in the cutscene. We didn't have it before this point. And right now I'm going to walk to the end of this wall, and I'm going to use first person view to lean around. If I ran out from that wall, that guard would be able to see me because my camo index is so bad. But in Metal Gear Solid 3, when you lean out from a wall or an object, if you can't be seen from your core position, when you lean, you can't be seen either. So leaning doesn't actually reveal Snake's model to like an enemy guard. And we use that leaning strat quite often. Picking up these hand grenades in the water is really important. And also taking the leech off us in the cure menu here. And I'm equipping the Mark 22, which is the tranquilizer gun. In this next room coming up, this room is so precise that if you miss any of the shots on the dogs like hit a wall or something like that, you're going to be seen later in the room. You can't afford to do that, so these shots have to be really careful. There's also some claymores on the ground that you won't be able to see, but I'm just walking a line to avoid them. And if I didn't take out those dogs, when I drop off this tree, those dogs would instantly see me. So now I'm using the box. I'm going to run all the way up to the electric fence, and then I'm going to look at these two guards. The first guard will notice me, and once he begins moving, I can take out the second guard. So that guard's began walking towards me, but he has to walk a really long path, which takes him out of the way of me. And then there's just one more dog at the end of this room. And before the Ocelot fight, I'm going to trank a guard, and then I'm going to shoot 2 barrels in this room. There's a couple of guards that are standing next to explosive barrels. If a guard dies to an explosive barrel, it doesn't count as a kill. So when I say no kills in this run, I mean anything that will show as a kill on the score screen, the card at the end of the game. And that's what denotes what rank you get. The Ocelot fight's pretty straightforward. I'm going to trank him once as soon as he's running away, and then begin this stun grenade loop. So the idea is to keep Ocelot stood still so we can easily headshot him. If Ocelot's running around, it's very difficult to hit him, and we can only score body shots, so we want to keep him stood still for as long as possible. We shot that marker, he'll now turn around and look at it. And now we just need one more body shot to end the fight. That's about as clean as you can do the fight. Now this cave is exceptionally dark on my capture card. I have ordered a new one, so don't adjust your TV sets. It's not this dark on my screen. You can just see where you're going. For anyone who remembers playing this game, you would spend a lot of time in this cave, and over time the cave would brighten up to kind of look like your eyes are adjusting to it. And there is also a torch you can find. What I'll do here as well in this first cave room is there's a couple of packs of Mark 22 ammo. Ammo in this game is actually dynamic, so if you pick up things like the AK-47 or the shotgun, it will then spawn ammo for those items inside the game, and they will sometimes replace ammo that you want to pick up, so I don't pick those up. If I was low on the pistol ammo, like the M1911, it would spawn pistol ammo there instead. So because we're only using the Mark 22, we get the ammo we need when we need it. Here I'm going to equip the smoke grenade and the grenade. Both of these are used to do this pain fight efficiently. I've also switched my camera into the 3D camera. As this fight starts, I'm going to hold the camera to the right in the menu, and that will turn my camera perfectly to face the pain. I need to land this smoke grenade on top of him. That will stop the swarm attack from attacking me. So you see those swarms that are spawning around the pain? Those kill you insanely fast on European Extreme. Every time the pain gets a shield, I'm going to throw a grenade onto the platform. In Phase 2, on the HD collection, there's a red homing attack. A consequence of this game being in 60 FPS is if you hold the first person view, that homing attack will never actually hit you. I've now equipped the pistol because I'm going to pick up some fruit in this cave. The reason I opt for this food is I'll have to eat twice during this run, and when you shoot these mangoes they instantly turn into boxes, so I can pick them up very quickly. If you shoot a snake, for example, if I shot the snake there, before it turns into a food item, there's like a delay of 2 or 3 seconds. So those mangoes just seem like the most logical food to pick up. So I'll talk about the box quickly here. We always use the box when going up and downhill. In this game, if Snake runs up a hill, he begins to stutter his movement and he moves very slowly. But they didn't program the box to move slowly, so it goes at full speed up and down hills. If you're in the box and you get hit by the Fury, you'll take less damage and you won't catch fire. So you'll see me use it a ton during that fight. You also can't catch fire from fire on the ground if you're in the box, and if you're on fire and equip the box, it will put it out. So very, very useful. So this is the first time we see the end. We don't kill him early in this run. We're going for FoxHound. We're going to fight him legitimately. So we're going to shoot this barrel, and you'll see it do damage to the end in the top left. Once we get to that fight, once we get into the end fight, he'll have some of his stamina reduced, and that will allow us to kill him much faster. Got to pick up all this ammo here, the stun grenades and the smoke grenades as well. We need all of that stuff for later. And we're coming up to the lab section here. The lab section is one of the more tricky parts of Tuxedo. In a normal European Extreme run, we would equip the scientist costume. The scientist costume means we can just run through and the guards don't see us as like an enemy. In Tuxedo, we have that option taken away from us. There's a cool trick here. When we stand up and just hold the gun out, once we go into first person view, we'll be aiming at this guard's head that we want to take out, so we don't have to move for it at all. It's like an instant headshot. Going to see that lean-in mechanic again. This guard won't see us, and that punch kick and the little spin is just a buffer. We want to make sure this guard here is far enough along in his cycle so we don't go too close to him and he hears our footsteps as we approach him. We're going to pick up this cigar gas spray and do a punch kick buffer. You're going to see another use of the box as well. We can use it to like fully open doors. And I'm just shooting the wall here. That will make the guard at the end of the room go onto the radio. Scientists won't alert to a box, so you can stand in front of a scientist all day in the box and they'll just be confused. Here's another example of using the box to open the door. When this guard looks at the down scientist, he won't notice Snake go past him in the box. I'm just doing another couple of punch kick buffers here. Couple more punch punch kick buffers here at the end of the room. Use the box to open the door, and then we want to get in the doorway of the door. We're waiting for that guard's head to be underneath the light. There is another guard that's facing towards us, but if we wait for that guard's head to be under the light, I always know that he's far enough along in his cycle where he's turned around. So that technique, I've used it a few times already, but it's called a quick headshot. Aim at a guard, you let the auto aim lock onto the guard. You go into first person view and then you hold L2 and R2 to stand on your tiptoes, we call it. And that will raise the gun high enough that it will be on the enemy soldier's head. And if you do it correctly, you can achieve headshots very quickly. So for this fear fight, I'm going to go onto the east side, and I'm going to use a fake death pill by this tree. What I'm trying to do is stun the fear on the ground, and then set off a rope trap so the rope trap hits him while he's stunned. When the fear is stunned, any damage he receives is converted into stamina damage. This counts as a non-lethal kill. Incredibly fast fight when done correctly. It's very important to cure the poison. That will drain our health and, more importantly, our stamina. If your stamina is below half, your aim will shake. I'm also equipping the cigar gas spray and removing the grenade just to clean my menus up a little bit. We're going into Warehouse 2. Warehouse 2, execution-wise, is a very difficult room. There's 4 sections. We have to distract the guard on the second floor with a box, roll off the top and land on top of another guard. Then we're going to use an advanced technique called a box headshot to get the third guard, and then we're going to roll into the fourth guard and exit the room.
What's wrong? What's that box?
So very tight timing on this room. I need to roll at this guard on his left side, and that will make him fall behind the tree, so when he stands up he can't see us. I shot a wall there to make the guard run behind those trees, and then use the stun grenade to silence my footsteps as I run past him. So here's the end fight. We have to do this fight legitimately. Not only because we want a non-lethal kill, but the non-lethal kill grants us the Mosin Nagant, which is a very powerful weapon for later. I know where the end spawns at the start of every fight. He's always in the same position. So I'm going to shoot him 3 times to knock him down, and then head over to the east side of this room. This was an advanced technique runner called Go-Go Time found. So after 25 seconds, if the end hasn't interacted with you, if you make a loud sound, he will spawn from the furthest position he can see you from. I know where that position is based on where I'm stood, so I throw a smoke grenade between me and that position. And now I can approach him without him firing at me. I know he's behind this tree, so I'm going to throw a stun grenade there. And then use a combination of cigar gas spray, punches, hold-ups to extend the amount of time I can damage the end for.
Freeze. How did you?
So the mountains are tricky. There's a lot of first person aiming. First person aiming is very difficult on the Xbox port of Metal Gear Solid 3. The aiming is far too sensitive. Because our camo index is so low, this guard's going to instantly notice us. But if we aim and stand on our tiptoes, we can actually instantly headshot him before he begins walking towards us. We need to take the box off before we get too close to this guard. Guards can actually hear your footsteps sooner if you're still in the box. And now you'll get to see how big Snake's roll hitbox actually is. Here we make the guard see us and roll at the last second. That makes him turn to face the wall. And we just roll over to the right.
HQ. This is HQ. Patrol here. What's going on? Respond. What's going on out there?
The boss coming up is the Fury. It's the hardest fight in the entire run. We'll use the Mosin Nagant that we got from the end to fight this boss. So it only requires 8 shots. So 8 bullets from the Mosin Nagant will kill the Fury. We can do 3 per cycle. Every time we hit him 3 times, it will knock him down. The Fury's initial spawn point is random. Many a good Metal Gear Solid 3 run will die here.
Are you ready for this?
That was really unlucky to get hit by that fire at the end there. When you climb up from a ledge, you actually get iframes. The Mosin Nagant is a single shot weapon, but if you do the tactical reload, you can fire it very fast. I got extremely lucky there. After the second knockdown, the Fury stayed stationary and charged, so I waited for as long as possible. If I had shot too quickly, the first hit would have knocked him down. There's an advanced technique in this run called a box headshot. When you are in the box, guards will react differently to when they just see Snake. A blue exclamation mark will appear above their heads, and they will begin to inspect the box. When they do that, they lower their heads, and if you're on the same plane as an enemy soldier, you can let go of the box and mash the fire button, and it just so happens that you firing perfectly aligns with the amount that they've lowered their heads. When a guard sees a downed teammate, he cannot see Snake in the box. When a caution is raised in the weapons lab, guards are programmed to run for the radio, and there's a couple of radios in this building. The idea here is to make Rykov run towards this radio that's upstairs, and now we're going to intercept him on the path and cigar gas spray him. If we were wearing a different camouflage, we would CQC grab Rykov and drag him to the locker, but we can't use CQC in the Tuxedo. Because we cannot progress the game any further, we are allowed to change our uniform here to the officer uniform. If we didn't do this, the game would be impossible to complete. Metal Gear Solid 3 doesn't have any major glitches on European Extreme, but what we do have is the box glide. This was a strat found by Appel. Equip the scope while leaning against the wall, look at a 45-degree angle, and then equip the box, and the game will try to push you out of the wall and make you slide along it.
Sir.
It's not possible to skip this next cutscene.
Tell me,
Stop it!
who have you been talking to?
He doesn't know what you're talking about.
You'd better start talking.
Please, stop this!
Who is Khrushchev's lapdog?
How can you do this to him?
I know you gave the data to someone.
Never do that.
You! I guess he's dead. Now then, I hope you'll prove more entertaining than he was. But first, let's take a look at your body, shall we? What a beautiful body you have, like a newborn baby. But not for long. Well then, let's get started. What is your target? Is it the Shagohod? Or Sokolov? Or maybe it's the Legacy? Answer me! Who is helping you? Who let you in here? You're a tough one, but even you must have your limits. And I am a patient man.
This cell escape strat I actually got from Mr. Snark, who used to have the world record in this game and Devil May Cry, until he was banned for splicing runs. So we spin Snake around in the survival viewer, and that will make him throw up. We also kicked a rat, which we're going to use as a throwable item for the strat once we get outside. So throwing up makes Johnny open the cell. And then we do 2 punches, and then equip the revolver and hit him 3 times. and that instantly knocks him out. We also loot some smoke grenades from Johnny. We need those to silence our footsteps. Obviously during this section we don't actually have any of our gear, so we can't wear the tuxedo. I always grab this extra life med on Tuxedo. Obviously we didn't need it in this run, but there's plenty of runs where you do need it. And if you are learning this run, I highly recommend getting that life med and the one just before the pain as well. Picking up a life med doesn't get rid of FoxHound, it's only when you use it. I've also equipped the cigar to lower my health as much as possible before the Sorrow fight. The Sorrow fight doesn't actually count towards the in-game timer. Major Zero and Appel, Major Zero the speedrunner, found that using the emulator they could see that the in-game timer would reset back to its original position when you enter the fight. So technically, when going for the best speedruns in this game, what you do during this fight doesn't matter as long as you don't hit continue. Interestingly, during this fight you still have all your equipment, so I can use the grenade left over to kill myself as fast as possible. I preferred to do this fight fast even though it doesn't count towards the in-game timer. So now we're going to pick up a box and use it for the intended purpose, which is being transported into the weapons lab. And it will put us right in the Shagohod hangar. And here I'm going to use that same box trick as before to completely vanish from these guards. I did specifically wait for that guard to cross through my gun before I fired. If you do it too early, it won't work. There's a really simple strat in the weapons lab here. I'm going to fire a non-lethal round at the fuel tank. This caution will move all the guards out of my path and I can easily plant all the C3 bombs. Mechanics, much like scientists, do not react to the box. So the Volgin fight is a little bit more difficult in Tuxedo because you can't use CQC. The normal strat is to grab him and throw him to the ground, but we don't have that option. But I found a strategy where if you run straight at Volgin, he'll do a punch attack, and that will allow you to get his back. So we'll do 4 shots and then he'll gloat. After these 4 shots, I'll run away and bait the electric attack, and that will allow me to get behind him to do the final 4 shots of phase 1. Phase 2 is exactly the same as a normal European extreme run. I'll lie on the ground and wait for his attack to finish. As long as you time it right, he gets a short period of vulnerability. Every time he crosses his arms, he has iframe, so I'll stop firing and quick reload the rifle. If you haven't collected the RPG by this point, it will be in your inventory now. Here I messed up my menus a little bit. The menus in this game are dynamic, so when you put a new weapon into the inventory, it goes in the last slot. It's very annoying to mess up your menus because you get used to them being a certain way, so once they're out of position, it can affect you. I like to do all of this section firing the Mosin Nagant. It's just a habit at this point, and it's become a bit of a joke in my stream. You know, people will say 360 no scope and all that kind of stuff. But I do think in this run, I do some of my best shooting. So if you see me play this game on stream, results may vary on how well I get the guards. But I think it's worth pointing out that my firing from this point on is exceptional. That's actually a glitch that's caused by hitting the Shagohod on the same frame that the cutscene begins. So you just pre-fire for it, and if you get it, it doesn't actually speed up or save time or anything. I think it just looks interesting. Here we're doing like chip damage to the Shagohod, so we're trying to hit him as many times as possible. You can get 40% of the Shagohod's health before the actual fight begins. It's rare that you'll see people do that. It's very difficult to get max damage on the Shagohod consistently. Because we're wearing the Tuxedo, our camo index is bad, which means we get shot more by the guards. So the lower your camo index, the more you get shot during this auto-scroller section. I know where all the guards are going to spawn, so I'm pre-throwing stun grenades in those positions. The most dangerous guards are the RPG guards. This guard on the roof here won't always hit you. It's random whether or not the RPG will hit you, but the next two RPG guards are 100% consistent. They will always hit you. If you take out all the guards in this section here, Eva will drive off sooner. So if you miss any of those guards, she'll wait here and you'll have to take them out. So now there's going to be an RPG guard on the roof. You must get this guy. He will always hit you if you don't take him out. So even though we've taken out the guards pretty well, we've still taken quite a lot of damage. One more RPG guard as we leave here, insanely important. The optimal thing to do on the runway is just take out the gunners. So each bike has a driver and a gunner. Only 4 bikes can appear during the runway section. So optimally you remove the gunners, they do the most damage. And then you just take a little bit of chip damage from the drivers. With the amount of health we have, it's not going to be enough to kill us. You don't need to do anything about these bikes that are chasing you here. The Shagohod will run them over and they won't deal any damage to you. Occasionally if you trank these guards and then they are ran over by the Shagohod, they can count as kills on the score screen, so just be aware of that. This is the last opportunity we get to deal damage to the Shagohod before the fight. If you spam quick reloaded rockets at the Shagohod, it will occasionally drop back. When it drops back, you can't deal damage to it anymore. So that's why I'm trying to go at a slower pace and get as much chip damage as I can without making it drop back. The intended mechanic is if you hit the treads, it makes the Shagohod drop back. But when you fire so many rockets at the center plate, occasionally it will happen anyway. When it does drop back, I will just hit it 1 or 2 times as it's coming towards me, and that's so it doesn't go into an attack mode. If it fires missiles at us, we're likely to die if we don't shoot them before it hits us. But all of that time is wasted because we're not dealing damage to the Shagohod.
I planted 4 C3 charges. A little more to go. 3 more bombs. 2 more ladders. A little more to the left. Only 1.
So the last one, I'll just aim at the C3, then let go of the scope, and that way I can see the Shagohod cross the middle of the bridge, and then fire at the earliest possible time. In my honest opinion, the Shagohod was not balanced around the ability to quick reload, because this fight isn't very difficult on any difficulty. Even on European Extreme, you're never really at risk of taking damage from the Shagohod because you can immediately stun the treads. My only assumption is they built this fight around the idea that people wouldn't know how to do a tactical reload. The tactical reload is an intended mechanic. It does teach you about it, but maybe they were concerned that people would miss it. The fight simply isn't balanced around the ability to fire this many rockets. If you disagree with my assessment, feel free to let me know in the comments. Now this is where the run gets serious. The Bike Chase 2 is prone to killing FoxHound runs. And what I mean by that is you tend to get shot so much during this section that you'll be forced into using a life med. What I will do in this section, rather than just shooting the gunners off the bikes, I'll just keep taking them out as soon as they spawn. I want to minimize the amount of chip damage I take as much as possible. I'm trying my hardest to go into the platform guard section with as much health as possible. I did explain earlier, but I will just say again, the lower your camo index is, the more damage you take from enemies during the bike chase. That's the last set of bikes. We'll go into the 2 checkpoints now. This first checkpoint has a few guards on the ground and one in a tower. And then the next section of roadblock has an RPG guard. Out of everything, it's most important that we take the RPG guard out. He will always hit us.
It's an ambush.
They're not going anywhere. Stop them. They're over here.
So all I'm looking for on this next section is to take the RPG guard out. Now this is the platform guard section. It's the most notorious part of the run for killing FoxHound. The center platform guard can get into a position above us where we can't hit him anymore, and he's free to just rain hell down on us. There is an element of RNG to this room. You can shoot the best you've ever shot in your life. You can first time these guards every single time you fire a bullet, but you can just still take so much damage from them. Sometimes they will crash into you and deal damage. Sometimes they will crash near you and set you on fire. A trick for putting out the fire while in the auto-scroller is to go into the camo menu and change camo. You can still do that in Tuxedo. You can change camo in the camouflage menu, but you can't exit the menu. So that will still put the fire out. It's a change we made to make this run slightly more bearable. I don't actually need to do it in this run. I get some fortunate RNG and I shoot pretty well, but it doesn't always go like this. I'll always wait until she finishes her dialogue before I turn around to shoot this. Hitting that log is a death sentence in European Extreme. It does so much damage. Feel free to go back and have a look how much health I lost just during this one section of the auto-scroller. But once you're through it, you just have one more section of auto-scroller. This one you don't really take that much damage. It's just nothing compared to the platform guard section. You can elect to shoot the gunners here and just let the drivers do chip damage, or you can just take them out every single time they spawn. With the amount of health I have left, I'm not worried. Before I cure Eva, I will always feed her. If you have no food at this point, you will always have 2 packets of instant noodles. If you pick up any food item, you'll only have whatever you picked up. You don't actually need to heal Snake, you only have to heal Eva to exit the menu. Which is quite funny because Paramedic in the codex says to you, if you don't have enough healing item, focus on your injuries first. In this first room, you don't need to call Eva at all, you can just proceed to the cutscene and she will appear next to you. As long as we begin moving right away, we'll avoid all of these guards coming from the north. This is the final room of guards in the run. Because the Tuxedo camo is very poor, we cannot even take a single step forward here. We have to aim from this position and wait for that guard. I shoot this guard in the back first to make him turn around. If you try and score headshots from the back, you'll sometimes miss. If we miss any shots here, we'll generally just get seen straight away. This position behind the tree, when the guards turn around, they can't actually see us. Here I'm going to kick a plant to make a guard turn around and begin looking up. That will just give me enough time to quickly take him out. When I shoot this next guard, another guard will notice and I get like a second or so to hit him. You can actually headshot that guard and you don't have to wait for him to come back, but we do have to wait for Eva to catch up with us anyway. I'm equipping the Mosin there so I can instantly equip it during the fight with the boss. There is a guard in the grass, but as long as you don't walk too close to him, he won't notice you. We can't use CQC because of the Tuxedo, but we can still repel the boss's attacks. So what I'll do is repel, and then shoot her twice in the head with the Mosin, and then I'll punch her to knock her down. A slam does more damage, but we don't have that option. Now I'll shoot her in the head and throw a grenade at her chest, turn away so we don't get flashed, and then I need to score headshots here. If I score headshots, I can end the fight sooner. She does cover her face with her arm. Hitting her anywhere but the head does less stamina damage.
Brace yourself.
I'm now out of stun grenades, so I'm going to have to let her get up. She'll fire the Patriot here. As long as she doesn't hit you with any of the bullets, she'll run away sooner. So we just chase her and wait for an opportunity to repel. And that's the fight. We've achieved the FoxHound rank. This is the 6th time I've achieved FoxHound in single segment Tuxedo out of many hundreds of attempts. And it's the first one I've ever got on the Xbox. I recorded this run live on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Apache Smash. I do a lot of live runs on there, so if you ever wanted to check those out, I'd be grateful to have you there as a viewer. Honestly, if you made it this far into the video, I really appreciate you watching. I've never really done one of these pre-recorded commentated videos before, so I had a lot of fun making it, but it's going to be a work in progress. And I'll try and upload more of these to my channel as I go on. I do have a all camos run ready to go. I've always enjoyed watching these fully commentated speedruns. I've said many times, but I'm a big fan of Wall Guy's Twin Snakes runs, where he does commentary like this, and something he does in that video is puts a little password in for people who made it this far. So if you did make it this far, please just leave me a comment that says, "Stop talking, I'm watching this cutscene." And if you genuinely don't like any of me talking over this game, there is a no commentated version of this run in the description. So if you'd prefer to watch that, I will upload that separately and unlisted on my channel. So we do the final fight in the wig. We always pick the left revolver, it has the bullet in it, and we can fire that. And then we get to see the credits, which is Way to Fall by Star Sailor. Unfortunately, that's a DMCA song and they silence your video. So instead, I'd like you to listen to some songs by my friend Fingers. I'm always going to use his music in my stuff. You'll find in the description where to find more of his music. So thank you, Fingers, for letting me use that.
It's you.
Yes, Grozny Grad and the Granin Research Facility have both been wiped out without a trace. I understand, sir, but they were necessary sacrifices. Yes, the CIA has taken care of the boss themselves. I believe the White House will be satisfied. Khrushchev is finished. Your time has finally arrived. Yes, the American president is relying on us to keep a lid on the whole affair. We've got him by the balls. It should make a valuable trump card in future negotiations. Yes, Chief Director, of course. I'll keep the KGB informed. Yes, it's me. The boss has accomplished her mission. The philosopher's legacy is now safely with us, in America's hands. With this money, yes, the philosophers can finally be revived. The film we handed the Chinese was a fake. Peking must be in an uproar right about now. I'm afraid so. Only half the money has made it back to the United States. The KGB must still have part of the legacy. Yes, the weapon has been reduced to ashes. That's right. Groznygrad has been obliterated by the Davy Crockett we brought in as well. Yes, that was the boss's work too. Speaking of which, I've obtained something from Granin that you might find interesting. It's a revolutionary new nuclear attack system. Perhaps it might just come in handy someday. Yes, we have Snake to thank for that. Khrushchev believed it as well. Yes, they bought our story. I don't think they'll be making a fuss. The secondary alert has been lifted as well. And the Soviets still haven't discovered my true identity. They have no idea that I've been triple-crossing them. I will continue my activities as a contact for the new government. Yes, it appears that no one knew that I was Adam. Of course, I'm always at the CIA's disposal, Mr. Director.